Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this completely scuffed, talking direct to camera, unscripted video. I haven't made one of these in ages, so apologies if I go off track or get a little bit rambly. However, I am going to try and keep the runtime of this video very short. I'm going to be really strict with myself to help stop the rambling from happening. And it only needs to be short because I'm only talking about one thing today. I'm talking about this. Now I'm pointing to nothing right now, but through the power of editing I will have an image here. That's just absolute magic. This is a supposed, rumoured and now leaked new product from Meta and Microsoft. The two are joining forces to bring us this. Now what is it, I hear you ask? Well, this is a brand new black and green Xbox branded colourway for a Quest 3S. If this picture is to be believed, and let's be honest, Meta do have a bit of a track record with things being leaked and then shortly after being announced, I'm starting to believe these aren't leaks at all. These might be kind of planned pre-hype building events. Don't come for me, Meta. This is all speculative. I have no insider knowledge. But if this picture is to be believed, that Quest 3S will also come with an Xbox controller, an Elite head strap, not pictured, that's what the Reddit poster I believe said, and 3 months worth of Xbox Gamepass for $399.99. Now let's just dissect that for a minute. Now as an offering, if you aren't already in the VR ecosystem, you don't already own a Quest 3 or a Quest 3S, that's pretty good. Now there's a few reasons why I think that's pretty good. The first reason is, in my opinion, you'll be getting a Quest 3S in the best colour that a Quest device has been available in since the original Quest. The change from I think the original Quest was like a grey rather than a black, but the change from the grey to the white was a choice that I kind of have never really made my peace with. It's fine, it stands out, it's kind of iconic, I guess. Immediately it's recognisable as a Quest device, as a Meta device, but personally I would have always preferred a black option. And I think this could look really cool. The picture doesn't really give us much to work with, but you can see it does have kind of a green outline around the edges of the Quest 3 faceplate, and then the rest of it is black. I think a black and green Quest is really cool. It's a really striking visual aesthetic. So for one, you're getting the coolest colour of a Quest. For two, for $399.99, so $400, a Quest 3S, an Xbox controller, 3 months of Game Pass, and an Elite head strap sounds like a pretty good deal in terms of monetary value. I think they've probably nailed that in terms of an offering for a consumer. You're coming in, you're getting the most comfortable head strap. You don't have to shell out for an aftermarket or a third-party strap, because the strap that comes with most Quest 3 and Quest 3S's, the default one, is horrible. I'll say that close to the mic to really emphasize it. I hate that thing. So you're getting a nice comfortable head strap. You're getting 3 months worth of Game Pass. I'll come on to that in a moment. And you're getting an Xbox controller. And I'll come on to that in a moment. Money-wise, that's a pretty good offering. You're coming in, you are set up to go with the most comfortable VR experience and the newest VR headset, and you get the Xbox stuff as a bonus. So I think it's a pretty cool offering. So why am I making this video? Well, I'm making this video because I've seen a few creators already, a few videos on YouTube, not people I personally know, but I've seen a few creators making videos on YouTube calling this Xbox VR or the Xbox VR headset. And I think that's kind of a dangerous route to go down. I've also seen a few people kind of echoing that sentiment on Twitter. If this thing ends up being real, I think we need to be really careful as to not call this the Xbox VR headset. Yes, I'm sure that will shift more units, but it is very disingenuous. This isn't an Xbox VR headset. This is a Meta Quest 3S with Xbox branding. And it has the Xbox branding because Microsoft and Xbox for years now haven't been a console manufacturer. That is my core belief. For the longest time, they have been a service provider. That's what Microsoft are now, with the Xbox brand anyway. They are a service provider. They are more interested in people signing up to Game Pass and playing their games via streaming than they are about selling consoles. That's not their game anymore. For the longest time, Microsoft have said, this is an Xbox. This, my phone, is an Xbox according to Microsoft. The ROG Ally is an Xbox. My TV with a controller is an Xbox. The Quest 3, the Quest 3S are Xboxes. This has been a marketing campaign and kind of a marketing strategy that Microsoft and Xbox have had for quite some time. They actually released this picture, which includes the Quest 3, quite some time ago, before we kind of had concrete evidence of any kind of partnership between Meta and Microsoft in terms of a piece of hardware. At that point, it really was just like the Game Pass app coming to the Quest. So I think we need to be careful. When I say we, and I kind of mean creators and the media, about how we talk about this device, because it isn't Xbox VR. Now, I'm not going to go on record today and definitively say that Xbox will never make a VR headset. I'm not going to sit here and say that Xbox will never engage with VR in that way, but I do think it's very unlikely that we'll ever get an official version of Halo in VR or an official version of Gears of War or Forza Motorsport. I'm very doubtful that we'll ever see Xbox engage in this medium in that way. To them, the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S is just another piece of that. This is an Xbox brand marketing. I think that's all this is. So I guess I'm making this video to pour some water on a potential hype fire that might be built by other creators and people that report on this in not a disingenuous way, but a way that's a little bit not careful. This is a cool thing, don't get me wrong. If you want a cool looking Quest 3S, a black Quest 3S, I want a black Quest 3S. I think it looks way cooler than my Quest 3 and my Quest 3S because they're the boring white ones. I do wish it was a Quest 3 and I wonder why it isn't a Quest 3. Specs wise, Quest 3 is, better. It has the better optics. So I don't know why they've gone for the cheaper version. I guess because it's cheaper, and ultimately this is just a way to put more people into the Game Pass ecosystem and get them playing with Game Pass. But yeah, I would have liked to see this be a Quest 3 rather than a Quest 3S, but that's a conversation for a different day. So to sum this up, and I did say it was going to be a short video, it really is going to be under 10 minutes, I hope. Fingers crossed, under 10 minutes. I've made some kind of points here. I've even written them down. I've got some notes. The best case scenario for this product releasing, if it ends up being a real product and it does release and it isn't just some fake thing that's been spread around online, the best case scenario is, 1, we get a cool new Quest colorway, and I would like to see more Quest colorways. I'd like to see an orange one. I'd like to see them do those kind of retro translucent ones that look like an old N64 where you can see the inner workings. I'd buy one of those. Number 2, we potentially get a new audience of avid Xbox fans who discover how cool VR is. People who weren't necessarily interested in VR for years, it hasn't really popped up on their radar, but now because there's this Xbox branded thing, they grab it and they try it purely because it's got that Xbox branding, and then hopefully they fall in love with it. Now, I don't think this product is going to solve any of VR's existing issues because it is just a Quest 3S, so it's not going to solve the retention issue, the kind of the sticky content issue, content that makes people come back time and time again. I don't think it's going to solve those problems because it's just a Quest 3S. The Quest 3S hasn't solved those problems, so why would this solve those problems? But it could bring some new fans in, people that buy it because they just love Xbox, they want something Xbox branded, and then they discover that Batman is actually really, really good, and Assassin's Creed's great, and we have a lot of fantastic titles in the VR ecosystem. So that's the number 2 best case scenario thing. And the number 3, which is probably unlikely, is maybe the standard Quest 3S, the white one, gets a price drop. And then there's a cheaper entry point for other people who want VR but just haven't pulled the trigger. So cool new colorway, We might get some new VR fans that are going to come in. I don't think it's going to be in the droves. I really don't think that's what this is going to do. And 3, maybe a price drop for normal Quest 3S. But then worst case scenario, some consumers who are uninformed get the wrong impression, pick this thing up, thinking it's Xbox VR, and that just really isn't what it is. And then we end up with people who feel like they've been duped and they get a sour taste in their mouth, and that sour taste is redirected kind of at VR or at Meta or at the Quest, because they feel like, well, this isn't Xbox VR, this is just a VR headset that I can play Game Pass in, and I could have played Game Pass in any of the other Quest headsets. What is this? I don't think that's going to be a huge portion of people either, but I think we need to be careful to not increase the amount of people that could be by talking about this like it's an Xbox VR headset. And that's all I wanted to say. This thing's cool. I do want a black Quest 3S. I've said that a couple of times now. And Game Pass on the Quest 3S and the Quest 3 is pretty cool. I've played it a few times. It can be a bit laggy. It really does depend on your your internet infrastructure and how fast you can stream these things. I'm not a big fan of streaming games. I like games to run locally on the device. So I kind of have a little bit of a negative bias against that anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I think it looks cool, but let's not lose our minds and go crazy calling this the savior of VR or the next biggest thing ever. It's cool that Microsoft and Meta have partnered for this, but don't get it twisted. I really do think that Microsoft see this as just another way to say this is an Xbox. I don't think they care that it's a VR headset. I don't think this means they're interested in VR. I think it just means that they want to push that branding to tell all consumers that you can play Game Pass anywhere. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, please do leave a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another one. Maybe I'll do more of these videos. This was kind of fun. This was kind of cathartic for me. Yeah, I feel chill now. I'm going to go and crack open maybe even a beer. I'm on a week off, and I've just watched 28 Years Later for the second time, and I loved that film. Go and watch that film. Fantastic film. All right, take care, everyone. See you soon for another one. Peace out. Goodbye.